All right, problem 4.4. Millimeters, grams, and seconds. Origin, location is indicated, so kind of the bottom. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, the bottom front. So that makes it a little interesting. We'll also just drive the decision that we'll be in the right plane and generate as much of this geometry as I can from this view. The cuts. I'm not quite seeing that, unless that's the, that must be the angle. It almost looks like a through hole with the shading. We have the detail view, so this one's kind of busy, so I'm feeling better about um, letting this one be an optional. The so detail A, let's identify, we have the sections. Detail A is this little tiny geometry back up over here. So 24 degrees, 78 overall. All right, other than that, it's just a little bit busy. The holes on top, they do not show a drill point, so that doesn't lead us to the hole wizard just yet. And so line, center line, circles, arcs, extrude, cut, fillets, and chamfers. All right, so the full array. As we build into the toolbox and you add more items to your workflow, then you kind of utilize, and at the core of all this is it's all a best guess. We're going to start where we think we can generate the most geometry. So on the right plane, this is going to be kind of the back of the part. So let's see, I'm not getting my full drawing up here. Okay, that's better. So let's just start sketching and see what we get. All right, so first we'll come over some distance. Again, I'm not going to worry about the fillets and radiuses, or sorry, fillets, radiuses, chamfers until we get a little further into it. This piece goes up and creates a little trapezoidal shape and then goes immediately back up over, and I'm taking a bit of a risk drawing all of this in because that is usually where we get the inferences and things. So like these would not surprise me as it went perpendicular. They are 100 degrees, so that would be something to watch out for, that as we're creating this geometry, we're also creating areas that might be problematic. So let's go ahead and see about making this the sharp. So it gets 60. Looks like the 8 millimeters is to the outside, so it shouldn't hurt anything to go ahead and close that off. And let's go ahead and take care of the perpendiculars, so I can either highlight the boxes and hit delete on the keyboard, or when I highlight the line, come over to the property manager, hit delete, or delete selection, and have our geometry. All right, so first dimension scales. We'll see how close we got. Oh, not too bad. All right, so it's not a drastic scale, but we'll flicker a little bit. Our overall is 32, and if it kind of reverses, but that looks pretty good. Make sure that I'm reading the inside dimensions. I do have a little bit of a problem with picking up those interior dimensions. I kind of want to have the number for this, but it's not giving me this, so we'll go with the numbers and just verify that I'm looking interior of the extension lines anyway. 28.8. Okay, and as we go, this geometry will start to come into focus. 18, and then we had 8. And between these two was 100 degrees for the included angle. Let's see, the assumption then, so 40 degrees. Hopefully that adds up. 40 degrees off of the horizontal, not the vertical. All right, so make sure I'm looking at that correctly. 40 degrees, 100 degrees. All right, so that kind of makes sense. The other assumption is that these are going to be coincident. So a select, control select. Let's see, what did I, oh no. If I do the line and the point, they're coincident. If I do the 2 points, then those are going to be horizontal. All right, so that does work out with the 40, 100. 40 over here gives it the 180. And then we have a height of 1.5. And 2 millimeters across the flat. Okay, I think I got all the geometry in there. 60 degrees for that. And so we'll try and fill all of these in before I go searching for dimensions that I might have missed. All right, so the 6 millimeters there. And that did it. So by process of elimination, we're going to fill in all of that that shape. All right, another quick glance, and then we'll go to features, extrude, boss base. It is a blind in condition of 78 millimeters. And we go ahead and accept. The front plane or the front sketch, or sorry, front face or the back face would all be doable, since the section view and the front view are showing, okay, so the section views is showing the interior geometry, and we need this little cutout shape. So since they gave us symmetry, don't necessarily need to do an infinite length in this case. We will just look for midpoints. So if I draw from midpoint to midpoint or midpoint to coincident and make sure that the center line is vertical. Let's analyze those real quick. Midpoint, midpoint, and vertical. If this was even a coincident, the vertical would take care of that. All right, so we have the angle, and the angle comes to the point, and so we're going to close that off. There are open geometries that we can cut with, but they are limited. So let's save those for another project. But the reason that I'm making these regions, and I'm going to double check, it is the vertical on my dimension, 8 millimeters across the flat. Make sure that that stays vertical, because before we were looking for it to remain linear, and this time we really need it to be a vertical dimension. All right, 10.67, and to the 8, and then the 8 millimeters was in the other. All right, so let's do the mirror entities. We'll window pick left to right. Make sure it jumps down to the mirror about by selecting it. Look at the preview, go ahead and hit accept, and then we can extrude cut. And we're looking for a through all, and it creates the geometry. All right, so now we need to find the two chamfers, and it doesn't matter if we do the chamfers or the fillets first. Oh, would help to put the holes on the top first, so let's do that. We're going to go 3. So let's make this a little easier by putting in a center line. And again, it doesn't have to be infinite length. If it is on the dimension, it looks centered, but we're not really. We have this section of B, which looks, yeah, I'm not seeing a dimension of 9 for that anywhere. So the assumption is that it's centered on the top face. Let's go ahead and select Control Select and do a mirror. And then our smart dimension will go to 8 millimeters. All right, so since that one and that one are now the same, we can set those to equal. And then the distance between, okay, so the one on the outside is 12 millimeters off of the generated edge. And let's drag a point, and the assumption was that they were not horizontal, so center points were not horizontal. All right, that gets me to my sketch, and then we can extrude cut. Depth is 10 millimeters. We're through all, so make sure I go back to blind. 10 millimeters is the default, so that looks pretty good. And then we can select Control Select, go up to the chamfer, and that chamfer is 1.5. Oh yeah, nice with the 10 millimeter, nice nice geometry there. And I do want to keep those separate from the chamfers, but I will do them in sequence. So the 1.5 stays in place. All right, then we need to discover where they put all of the radiuses of 1.5. So 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. And let's go ahead and check the interior. Nope, that's a face. There it goes. Just that little bit of a highlight for the orange is what I'm looking for to give me that that selection. All right, put that in place. Let's look at it from the different views. Control 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, that shading does have a little bit different different view or different tone with the side view. 10. All right, I think that's it. So we are looking at 66,273, and we will evaluate that. 66,214, close enough. All right, again, you know, if we are looking, you know, as just a comparison, it is nice when those numbers come up, but I'm missing as much as I'm hitting. So I'm sure that there's some numbers in there that you know, caught me, but 8 millimeters, 1.5 would be 11 millimeters. So, all right, well, we'll call that good, and don't forget to save.